Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be talking to you about how I obtained my Alberta driver's license. If this sounds like something you're interested in, keep on watching. Welcome back to my channel guys. To my returning subscribers, welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Rochelle. I am an international student in Alberta, Canada, and I post content about my life here. So if this sounds like content that you would be interested in, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a lot. I appreciate all the likes, all the shares, and all the comments that you guys make on my videos. It encourages me to keep posting content. So share this video with a friend or look on my channel and see if you find other videos that you may be interested in. So let's get right into today's video. I recently got my Class 5 Alberta driver's license, and it was a big deal for me because, as some of you know, I am an immigrant here. I'm a newcomer to Canada, and for the first year that I was here, I was driving on my license, my driver's license from my home country. And so that license, or that driving permit, was about to expire, and my insurance company found a plan that would allow me to pay less for my monthly car insurance if both my husband and I have an Alberta driver's license. So, for those of you who may not know, when you are applying for an Alberta driver's license or a Canadian driver's license, you have to give up the license from your home country. Now, this isn't something that I knew before I came here. So what that meant is that we had to submit our driver's license from our home country as well as our international driver's permit. Now, we came here with our international driver's permit, our driver's license from Jamaica, as well as our driver's abstract. They didn't ask us for our driver's abstract or our driving abstract, but they asked us for our driver's license as well as the international driver's permit that allows you to drive in Canada for a year. So for those of you who are in Jamaica and are planning to come to Canada, I highly recommend that you go and you get your international driver's permit from the tax office. It's free of cost. All you need to do is to let them know that you are traveling to Canada. I don't remember if you need to provide any documentation to prove that you're traveling to Canada and you're going to be staying there for some time, but walk with it just in case. So you need your current valid driver's license as well as proof that you're going to be in Canada, and they will fill out your international driver's permit. It's a little booklet. I don't even have it with me now to show you, but it's a little booklet and it's free of cost, and it shouldn't take you that long to get it at the tax office. We went and got our driver's abstract. Now, I think the only place you can get this is in Halfway Tree. So we went to Halfway Tree. At the time, I think it was $3,500. So under $4,000 to get the driver's abstract. You had to pay for it at the tax office and then take the receipt to the place in Halfway Tree. I don't remember the name of the place right now, and get your driver's abstract. Now, we were told that this is something that we might need, and we thought it best to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So we went and we paid our $3,500 for myself and for my husband because we both had valid driver's license in Jamaica, and so we had our driver's abstract. So coming here, we had our driver's license, our driving abstract, and our international driving permit that allows us to drive in Canada for 1 year. So as I mentioned, the 1 year was coming up and the international permit was about to expire. Now, it didn't make sense for both of us to go and do our Alberta license at the same time, because how it works is that you'll get a learner's license first and then you get your full license or your Class 5 license. So that's the license that we were going for. It's called the Class 5 license, which just basically means that it's a license that allows you to operate a passenger vehicle, not a public transport, but a private passenger vehicle. So it's not a truck license, it's not a bus license. It's just a regular car, SUV for private use license. So it's called the Class 5. But before you get the Class 5, you have to get a learner's license, which is called the Class 7. And when you're on that Class 7 license, you are not allowed, just like it would be in your home country or back in Jamaica, you are not allowed to drive by yourself. You need to drive with someone else who has a Class 5 or a full license in the car with you at the time. So because both of us needed to change our licenses out to Alberta license, it didn't make sense for both of us to go and start the process at the same time. So we decided that my husband should go first, and he got his Class 7 license, and then eventually he got his Class 5 license. So the process of getting the learner's license or the Class 7 license, you have to first do a written exam. So the written exam, you go into the license bureau or the registry center, and you tell them that you want to do your knowledge test or your written test for your license, and they will ask you for some documentation. Now, as a newcomer, as an immigrant, they're going to ask you for your valid visa or your permanent residency card to show that you are, legal here in Canada. You also have to show them proof that you live in Alberta. So that comes usually in the form of like a lease or a utility bill. You have to provide them with your license from your home country if you had one, and your international permit that allows you to drive in Canada as well. So those are the documents that he provided at the time, we both did, in order to do that written test. Now guys, we had been driving in Jamaica for years. My husband had his license for over a decade, and so did I. So, we thought, all right, this process isn't too bad. We're just going to do the written exam, we're going to pass, and then we're going to go and do the driving exam, because that's the second part. You do the written exam first and then the driving exam after you pass the written exam. So, we decided, okay, we're going to watch some YouTube videos. We're going to read the knowledge book. They have a free booklet on their website. I'll link the website in the description down below. They give you a free booklet, knowledge test booklet, to help you prepare for that written test. And so, we read it and we said, okay, fine. We're ready to do the exam. In this case, my husband was the first to do the exam. So he went in and paid the fees. You have to pay a fee for everything. So the written test costs about $17 to $20. And every time you do the test, you have to pay that fee. So unfortunately, he did not pass on his first try. So the test is not written, in that you won't be writing anything. It's all done on a computer. So they explain all of this to you when they're taking your documents. After you paid your fees, then you are able to go to the back or whichever side of the registry office where they have computers for the exams. And so you're put in basically a test mode. All of the computers, you're in a little cubicle. So the computer is, towards the back of the cubicle, and they have shields preventing you from looking at your neighbor's computer. They also provided headphones if you prefer to listen to the questions rather than read them on the screen. And the test is such that if you get 25 wrong, it's 30 questions, sorry. It's 30 questions, and I think you needed to get between 22 to 25 to pass. So when you are doing your tests, you are able to skip if you don't want to answer that question. But once you answer that question, you are not able to go back. So it will display the questions one at a time. Usually it will give you a picture as well as a written question, and it's multiple choice. So you have the option to select the correct answer, and in some cases select all that apply. So you have to get at least 22 to 25 to pass out of the 30 questions. And unfortunately, seeing as it was his first time, he got some wrong and the test just finished. I think once you get 7 wrong, the test will just finish. It won't even allow you to do the 30 questions. Once you have gotten 7 wrong, or how much of it is wrong, it's just going to end the test, and you have the option to leave and try again tomorrow. So that's a good thing about these tests. Both the written test and the driving test, you're allowed 1 try per day. So if you did not pass, if you were unsuccessful, then you have the option to book a test or to book again for the following day. Now, depending on how big your city is, you will have multiple license registries or license bureaus in the city, and so you can choose which one you want to go to depending on proximity to your job, proximity to your home, or even just how the place looks. So you're able to select which registry agent you would like to book your test for. So he was unsuccessful that first time, and he realized his mistakes. So as I mentioned previously, the test allows you to skip some questions. Now, once you have reached the end of the questions, you're going to get back the questions you skipped, unless you get the required amount to pass. So let's say the questions that you weren't sure of, you decided to skip them instead of hitting an answer and risking getting the wrong, because once you get the wrong, you can't go back and change your answer, and it's going to count against you. And like I said, once you get 7 questions wrong, they're going to just kick you out of the test. So what he did, in order to pass questions that he wasn't sure about, he skipped. Now, fortunately, once he got to 23, 24, whatever the number is, he passed, and he didn't need to go back to the questions that he had skipped. So that's a pro tip, guys. If you're not sure of the answer, you can skip it, and you may not have to encounter that question again as long as you get all of the others correct. So I took that advice when it was my turn, and that's what I did, and I was able to pass on my first try. So guys, now that you've passed your written exam, it is time for you to submit all your documents, because before you do the written exam, they tell you, okay, once you pass this written exam, you're going to have to submit these documents. So every time you go to do the written exam, you have to bring your documents just in case you pass and you need to submit them right away. So he submitted the documents, and they told him that, okay, you're on a class 7 now, and you will get the physical card in the mail about a week or 2 from now. So that's what happened. He got the card in the mail, and even though he had submitted his previous license as well as his international permit, what happens is that when you submit all of those documents, the registry will send it to the Alberta government, transport ministry or whatever it's called, and they will assess your driving history to see if the years that you have driven in your home country will give you credit towards driving in Canada. So as I mentioned, we had both been driving for many years, and so they gave him credit for the years that he had been driving. He submitted all of his documents, and he got the physical card back in the mail about 2 weeks. Now the thing with that is, if you previously had a photo ID, let's say an Alberta ID card, because when we just came, we got Alberta IDs. Because we didn't have the driver's license as yet, we wanted some type of ID for Canada, for Alberta. So we had our Alberta photo IDs. They told us that once you get that first driver's license, the class 7 physical card, you're going to have to destroy that Alberta ID. So apparently it's an offense to have more than one photo ID, more than one Alberta photo ID. So every time you get a physical card, they basically tell you that you're gonna have to cut or destroy the previous one. So he had his class 7. When he got the card in the mail, the physical card in the mail, they told him to come back once you get that physical card in the mail. When he went back to the registry office, that would have given the Alberta government or the Alberta Transport Ministry enough time to assess his previous driver's license and his previous years of driving in his home country and see whether or not he would receive credit and be able to book his driving test right away. So that's what happened. They gave him credit from Jamaica, the amount of years he was driving in Jamaica, and so he was able to book his driving test as soon as he got the physical card in the mail. So he booked the test, and we were preparing by watching YouTube videos on how to pass that driving test. So like I mentioned, guys, we've been driving for a few years, and so we thought we knew what to expect, or we thought we knew the road code, and we thought we knew, you know, how we were going to be tested, but that was not so. Unfortunately, none of us passed the driving test on the first try, but we both got it on our second attempt because we identified what we did wrong in the first attempt and made the corrections in the second attempt. So guys, he got his full driver's license, and then we proceeded to start my process. So I did the same thing, submitted my documents after I passed my written test, waited 2 weeks, got my physical learner's license in the mail, went back and was able to book my driving test. Now, the first driving test, I failed for simple mistakes. Like every time I made a mistake, I was conscious of it. So how they do, or what they do, is you book your test and you show up half an hour before that time slot, because you're still going to have to go into the registry office again and submit your documents. So your documents would be your class 7 license, as well as the license and registration for the vehicle that you're going to be using for the driving test. So they recommend that you come 45 minutes to half hour earlier, depending on how busy that registry office tends to get. So you go in, submit all those documents. If you haven't paid for the test already, you pay for it. But I booked the test online, so I did the payment online as well. So I went in, gave the agent my documents, and they told me you can wait in the car or you can wait in here until the examiner comes out. So usually they explain to you how the test is gonna go. They ask you to do some checks on the vehicle before you start the test. You have to sign that you are the person taking the test, and then you'll go out on the road. They'll give you instructions on what to do in terms of which turn to make, and they're basically just testing to see how you would respond in these different situations. So they're going to take you through different speed limits. They're going to take you on the highway, they're going to take you in neighborhoods, they're going to let you parallel park, hill park. It all depends on the examiner. So basically, at the end of the test is when you'll find out what your results are, whether you've passed or not. So they will give you basically a rundown or a summary of how you did. They'll tell you what you did well, they'll tell you what you need to work on, and they'll basically at the end of it all tell you whether you passed or you failed. So the first time I did the test, I did not pass, but he explained to me what I did wrong. I failed because of 2 silly mistakes, and so I was able to correct them. I was determined I was going to get this class 5 license, And so after I failed that day, I booked a test for 2 days later. I would have booked a test for the following day, but there were no dates available. So I booked the test for 2 days later, and in the meantime, I was practicing and watching more YouTube videos. Because guys, I didn't have the money to go and get private lessons. I didn't even check out how much they were. But based on what I heard, they can go for about $80 to $100 an hour. And I didn't think I needed it, and I didn't have the money to spend on it. So University of YouTube was my teacher, was my driving lesson instructor. So each time you do your driving test, you have to pay for it. So the cost for the driving test was about $150 after tax. So each time you fail, you're gonna have to pay that money again. So in total, just for the driving test for me and my husband, because we both failed the first time, we had to book 2 driving tests each. So that's 4 times $150. So that's $600 they got from us just so. But in the end, it worked out, and I know that if I was practicing for longer, I know that if I was taking it more seriously, we probably would have passed on the first try. But based on what I'm hearing, that's what happens to a lot of people sometimes. They kind of underestimate the test or what the examiner is looking for because they've been driving for so long. And unfortunately, a lot of persons don't pass on their first try. So that's my experience, guys. I hope you learned something. And if this video is content that you like, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post videos weekly where I share my life as an international student here in Alberta, Canada. See you in the next video.